Hi traders, welcome to the full market analysis for the 6th of June. Non-farm payroll has been released and it's just about coming up to 4:30 now on the Friday afternoon. And at last we had some great trading setups. It's taken all week really, nothing's really happening this week because of NFP. We did see a rally in the dollar which caused gold to fall. So if you traded gold to the short level, well done. I'll cover that now on the gold on steroids before I go into the main markets. As we know, once we get an outside bar, once the price has fallen outside the channel, it does not like it at all. All right, so just remember that. So if you are short, the shorts were in this, people are still selling, all right, but the volumes are dropping, of course, heading into the weekend. And so this is the time to exit your short positions here into this very strong green zone here. Now, if you're an aggressive trader, then you can buy into the green zone here. 33.17 was the potential buy here, as you can see here on the right as well, and the price bounced very nicely. 33.17, currently 33.28, so 110 pips. If that's the way you want to trade, you have to discover what kind of trader you are. Now let's go into it. So a little bit of detail, so that once we get an outside bar, you can trade it from the yielder block very nicely, grab 100 pips, because of course it could just simply start to go back down again if the volumes are in the market. However, to be safe and to be sure as to what the next direction is and not to miss the next big move, just simply go down to the 2-minute chart. So this is the 2-minute chart on gold on steroids, and as we can see, I mentioned this in the live video on YouTube earlier today. The price had changed character to the downside, but it was pretty much doing nothing for a few hours, wasn't it? And then it broke down about just after 3 p.m. GMT, and then it broke down. So if you got that move, well done. Now, you don't want to be short here. This is not a time to go short, even though it may go down. The rules for us are not safe. And so what we want to see for any change of character, we want to see this price move out from this sell zone and into a buy zone like this. And then the price moves up very nicely. So there's your 1, there's your 2, and the price goes up. So that's the kind of thing you'll be looking for. We're not going to get it, not on a Friday late afternoon. Volumes are very light. And so we're going to have to wait until Monday now probably before we get into a position, and you don't really want to hold a position over the weekend if you can help it necessarily. So just sit tight. It's a great setup into next week. If dollar weakens, as I think it will, I'll do the analysis now, then we're going to see another rally in gold maybe as soon as Monday. So look out for that. Let's go into the markets now and have a look at the DXY. Lovely to see these moves because these are correction moves. These are the moves that we look forward to. Now, just to explain what I've got the daily on the far left on the Advanced Pro chart. So I've got the 4-hour chart here on the middle, and I've got the 2-hour chart. And I'm particularly looking at price cycles. As we know, we want to be buying when it's very cheap. We want to be selling when it's very expensive, and that's where you get your leverage, where you get your maximum profits into next week now, of course. Now, so the DXY is still in a downtrend despite the rally today. It may change, it may continue up into next week, but my view is that if it doesn't change in the next few hours, then it's likely to continue down into next week. We'll have to wait and see. I'll be doing the weekly Forex forecast at the weekend once markets are closed, to give us a better idea of the next move. However, I do think that we're going to see a continuation of the dollar to the downside, and it could be a big move. So bear that in mind. We'll have a look at that into next week. Notice here the price cycle. When the price cycle is too high, The price gives way. How far it goes, we just don't know. However, we do expect the price to fall into next week. The futures contracts for the yen fell over into today. Quite unusual to see it pre-NFP, but nonetheless it is doing that. But we can see that on the left, the daily is in an uptrend. So I think that we're going to have to wait and see where this goes now. There may be some great trading opportunities for the yens as well as the dollar into next week, and that would be absolutely a dream, to be honest. Rarely do we see yen positions setting up perfectly alongside the US dollar. It could get really, really busy and could have some really nice profits into next week. Now, for a day trade, of course, you could have bought the yens. Let's have a look at the yens on the day trading system. Yeah, so the pound yen as an example on the daily system, trading system on the advanced pro charts, we can see quite clearly which direction we're going. Above there is a central pivot there, above on demand, oversold, blah, 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 you know the routine. And the price goes up, wrong color, and the price goes up from here, above the 50, above the 50, above the 50. I keep repeating it. It is absolutely a dream. Swiss franc futures weakened today, but again, I'm not convinced of this. This is not conducive of the long-term trend. It is simply a correction, as you can see on the far left. The daily chart is now hitting a very strong support line. I'll be covering this the weekend once it all settles down. So I think we're going to see this go up into next week, and then we'll be looking to sell off the Euro Swiss, Canadian Swiss, etc. The indices are rallying a little bit, but not much. FTSE 100 is moving up, as we can see, into the buy zones here on the 2 hour. Nice move from 12 p.m. So they like the information coming out from the non-farm payroll. Just flicking through because I haven't seen these today. I don't really want to be overactive on a non-farm payroll day. It doesn't make sense to me. Short-term trade on the Dow Jones, but very, very limited due to low volumes. So let's go down a little bit. Let's have a look at the euro dollar. This is looking really good, actually. So a couple of things to point out. Because of the strong dollar in the last few hours, the price has pushed down into a very strong demand area here at 113.75. So this is highly likely to continue up. It's hit our weekly target of 11483 from the last week's weekly Forex forecast. So if you held on for the week, you would have made a nice profit there. However, we're now seeing the price pull back down into this strong support line as well. So there is confluence here on the chart, and so therefore we do expect the dollar to weaken into next week, which will drive this price higher. Not doing anything yet, and highly unlikely to do it today, but could be as soon as Monday. So that's definitely one to watch. Pound USD doing exactly the same thing. I think the euro dollar is a better trade. You can probably see why. There's no demand. There's no demand line on the 4 hour chart. That's right down there. So the euro dollar is looking better for that reason. So we'll be looking at that into early next week. Don't miss these moves, guys. Please don't miss these moves. I know it's been quiet this week, but that's normal. That's what happens in trading with NFP. Aussie USD, similar situation, but no demand on the 4 hour. I did post this into the VIP room, and I'm going to do a blog on this as well, so have a look at that. And price now moving into a strong demand area here. US Swiss, yeah, I covered this. Now, one thing you can do, of course, you can wait for the change of character if you wish. Let me just cover that a little bit. So one thing you can do is just simply take this 2 hour chart and turn it into a 5 minute, and then wait for the change of character. So no change of character yet. So once this breaks down here, for me, I'm in it. I just use the 2-hour chart, but if you feel like you want to be a little bit more cautious, if you like, I don't know if cautious is the right word, but a little bit more reactive to the change of character. If we go into the 2-hour, we can see this here. It's coming into a very strong supply zone here with the trend line, which is confluence. This is perfect. And in addition to that, we have very high price here. In other words, the price cycle it's gone too far, and so the price has to move the other way. It could be a big move. It could be as much as 162 pips into the demand area on the higher time frame, as we can see here. And on the left there is a big move coming. If the dollar is going to move big time, then this is going down to the demand zone here at 80.69. So look out for that. That could be very interesting indeed. US Canadian, I did post this as well into the VIP room. Hopefully you got it. I want to see this price move higher. Hopefully you can see why. Price cycle is high. Let's have a look on the 2-hour. We can see that this would be a perfect position in terms of convergence, wouldn't it? Maybe 37.22 is a little bit too high. Maybe it needs to come down a little bit into 37.15, somewhere like that. But it's going to be very close if it decides it doesn't want to just give over into Monday. So we keep an eye on it. If we miss it, we miss it. It's not the end of the world. And there was a trading opportunity here, but hindsight is wonderful, isn't it? Have a look at the US yen. I think this is going down, down, down. Not parabolic. In other words, not all the charts are agreeing. So we can see that this has changed character here, but I'm not convinced of that either. I think this does need to go down with the dollar into next week. Just flicking through. No longer parabolic is the euro pound. A pound Aussie, no longer parabolic. Euro Canadian, Laurie mentioned this one. I'm not convinced of this, to be honest. I think the majors are a better option into next week. But we can see the price on the left that is within a very tight wedge formation here, and highly likely to bounce out. Either way, we don't mind. So 158.84 or 153.98 is going to be the target, depending which way it decides to go. But it has to break before we actually look at that. All the Canadians are looking a bit messy, to be honest. Nothing significant there. And you can quickly flip through these charts and decide that there's nothing going on. As you can see, the majors, US Swiss, Euro dollar, Pound US, are all looking far healthier than these. Now let's go into the yens a little bit, just so you can see what's going on here. Now there was a trading opportunity this morning. If you were up early enough and wanted to trade the 2-hour chart, look at the price cycle on that. Beautiful chart, absolutely a dream, to be honest. So what you want to do when you get into that position, if you want to trade non-farm payroll day, that's up to you. But see how this comes back down into the Fibonacci's here after the stage 1 change of character. That's what you want to see. Very, very deep, very, very oversold, highly likely to get a bounce. And of course it did. And the price goes up. So look out for that. Into next week, I think we're going to see a potential reversal. Let's go to the pound yen. There was a nice move on that this morning as well. Look at that 1, 2, 3 system. Absolutely beautiful chart there on the right. So we're going to have to see where this goes. Now, in terms of the 4-hour chart, we can see that the pound yen has hit our weekly target, 195.99, very nicely, but now hitting a supply area. So this could prove highly significant into next week if it rolls over and gives up. If the yen futures go strong, then we could see a lovely bit of selling coming up in the yens into next week. So in terms of gold is starting to move up, as we can see. Don't worry about if you missed any positions. Once you get change of character, let me explain. So once you've got change of character, if you don't get into this position, that's fine. Just wait for the price to pull up, pull up, pull up, and the price goes down in this instance. In a buying scenario, we can see that or a selling scenario, we have a selling scenario here. You're going to get opportunities galore. Don't worry about missing the change of character. If you're not at your chart, don't worry. There are selling opportunities, and you get 1, 2, 3. In this instance, on the gold on steroids, you get change of character here. You get the pullback, the 1, 2, 3. And then you get another opportunity here. Another opportunity here. That's your 3 trades. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. In this case, there's 4. If you get 4 trades in a row making money, lots of money, then just take the day off and enjoy the rest of the day. Have a wonderful weekend.